everybody, what's up? Welcome back to Know Your Worth TV. This is Maya Jones. Before we get started, I just want to continue to thank you, all new subscribers who have subscribed this past week. I am so honored that you're tuning in and you are listening and you are getting something from what God gives me to share. It blesses my soul, and I just hope you continue to watch and like and comment and do all those things that you guys have been doing. I wanted to talk to you today about my testimony and how God delivered me from a toxic relationship. It has been about, what is this, 2024. Yes, 2024. So it's been about 15 years since God delivered me from a very unhealthy relationship that kind of just took a toll on other relationships in my life. And God really had to do a big work, a healing work. And He has done that, and He is continuing to do that in certain areas. Because, for any of you who have dealt with being in unhealthy relationships, how the residue of the things that you walk through can affect your close relationships and then your future relationships and people that you do want to connect with. And so I just wanted to use this testimony as a way just to encourage you and just to show you how God helped me to walk through something and get out of something that was not healthy for me or my children and my family. And also, happy Valentine's Day, because it is Valentine's Day today. You'll see this tomorrow, but it's Valentine's Day today. But anyway, I just thought it was interesting that He had laid this on my heart to share. If you listen to any of my other videos, I have shared parts of my testimony about being married and going through a divorce, and just some of the things that were internally going on in me that led to me being in that relationship. And off the back, I want to say one thing is that even though I'm sharing certain vulnerable and personal things today, I always say this in my videos, like, I got married very young. I got in a relationship basically with the first person that would show interest in me, because I just had this internal desire in me to be loved, and some things that I was lacking from my natural father that I was looking for to get out of a relationship with a man. So I don't know how this is going to go, because I don't really have a planned script, but I do have some scriptures that I want to share with you guys that help encourage me on my journey as I navigated through that relationship. And one of the things the Lord gave me just as like a foundation for what we're going to talk about today is Revelations 12:10-11. It just says, "Then I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, 'Now salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of His Christ has come, for the accuser of our brethren who accused them before our God day and night has been cast down. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimonies. They did not love their lives unto death.'" And so one thing I want to just say is that there is no testimony without a test. Like, we've all have walked through things, and God's will for us is to walk through them and get to the other side and have a testimony to be able to share with others and to help others, so they either, one, don't have to walk through those same things, or two, they can find the strength to walk out of things that are not healthy for her and things that God has been speaking to you about, and carrying that out and trusting God that He will just lead you every step of the way. And so we have, without a test, like I said, we don't have a testimony, and we overcome the enemy by sharing our testimony. We overcome his accusations because many times he likes to keep us in shame. He wants us to be embarrassed. He wants us to, have those thoughts in our head saying like, you're a fool. You shouldn't share that. You need to keep that to yourself. But there are things that you have walked through that other people, when they hear it, is going to be the thing that help them get breakthrough in their lives. Like what you've walked through, what you've experienced can help set someone free. And so I want to encourage you today, even for those who have already walked through things and have allowed God to sever unhealthy relationships and patterns in their lives, is that you can use that testimony to help other people break free and overcome the enemy. Because the thing is, there's purpose in our pain. He uses everything that we walk through for what he's called us to do. Like, it's not an accident. He knew we was going to walk through the things that we walked through before we did. He knew the mistakes that we were going to make. He knew everything about us, and he wants to use whatever we walk through as a way to help other people and to bless other people, and even to bring healing to yourself. Because every time we speak and we talk about our testimony and what we've walked through, that we not only help other people to heal and walk through things, that we receive healing too. One of the things I have noticed since I've been doing this YouTube channel is that God has use this platform to do surgery and continue to bring healing to me in certain areas. So every time we're talking about something, no matter how hard or difficult it is, or how embarrassing it may be, or how it may hurt to do so, in doing so, you're bringing healing to yourself. You're bringing healing to other people. And so anyway, I'm going to get back to what I was going to share. So first of all, I just wanted to say that it was very, very difficult for me to get out of the relationship with my ex-husband, because first of all, I was so young when I had came together with him. And I was not strong in my walk with the Lord. Even though I love the Lord, I grew up in church. I was filled with the Holy Spirit. I read my Bible and I did all those things. I did not have a strong personal revelation with the Lord. And at the time I came together with my ex-husband, I did not have a strong foundation. I haven't really had that one-on-one encounter with the Lord for myself. So I knew about him. I knew what the right thing was to do. But I was in a season where I was having this internal struggle, because there are things that I still weren't sure about concerning my faith. And so the enemy really used that season in my life, because I was a teenager when I met my ex-husband. He used that season in my life to bring people into my life to distract me and to pull me off. And I want to say that it is so important before we especially get into romantic relationships, that we have a strong foundation in God, and that we really know who we are, and we have just a revelation of God's love for us. And we also develop self-love for ourselves and learn to love ourselves, because if we don't do those things, we don't have that foundation before we go out in the world and we leave mommy and daddy's house after they done raised us, then we're going to find ourselves in relationships where we're looking for the other person to do that thing. So anyway, I end up getting in this relationship with this guy who I eventually married when I went away to college. And it was doomed from the beginning, because it was not based on truth and honesty. It was a lot of things that I did not know about him. I think a year, or not even a whole year after I had started getting involved with him, I found out, he had somebody was pregnant with his child. I found out he had a different birth name than what he was. So it was just so many different things that had just came up that just it was telling me straight up, like, this person's not trustworthy. But because I had developed a soul tie and I had given him my body before marriage, it was so hard to break away from that relationship, even though it was so unhealthy for me. And so eventually I got pregnant with my first child, and I ended up having getting married and then having my second child, who I conceived before marriage. And it just got so bad because I was just having this internal struggle back and forth, because this person was in and out of my life. Even when we were married, it still was like I was alone. Like, so this is why I encourage people, don't be so in a rush to attach yourself to somebody, whether in marriage or in a relationship, because it's many people that are in a relationship and married and they're still alone. Like, all they just have is a piece of paper. Like, some people ain't even living with each other. And so basically, I saw how the Lord was protecting me even in that, because when I got married, my husband ended up joining the military, whatever. And so I got married and I still was alone. But I remember during that season that I was alone after I got married, that the Lord really started dealing with me by his spirit. Like, he was just giving me these dreams and these visions, and he was showing me things that my husband was doing at that time that he hadn't even told me about. So he was exposing things and dreams and visions that this person was being unfaithful with me, faithful to me, which shouldn't have been a surprise because he was doing that before marriage. And he just was showing me that he had a better plan for me. And I wanted what God willed for my life. But the problem is I was so weak spiritually, and I didn't have the strength within myself to leave this person, because I was so attached in my soul to him, even though it wasn't real love, even though it just was a soul tie, right? Because this person didn't love me, and I really didn't know how to love him, right? Because we both were young, messed up, and had issues. So basically, I'm going to share some scriptures with me, because I want to encourage you today, because there are many of you who are in relationships and you don't want to be in those relationships because you know that they're not right for you. And let me put a disclaimer here. I'm not talking to the married people right now, because you married, you have to seek the Lord concerning your situations. If there's things, abuse and things going on, then you need to talk to spiritual leaders, talk to authorities, talk to other people that can help you get separated or something, so you can distance yourself while you seek the Lord and figure out what he wants you to do concerning that relationships. But I'm really focusing on singles or people maybe in the engagement stage, and you know that this person is probably not someone you should be going the distance with, but you have invested so much in this person, or you're emotionally, spiritually, financially. And this goes for men and women, because sometimes we feel like we have invested so much and things have gone so far in the relationship that we might as well just settle on this person. But that's not God's will. Like, he would rather you sever that, and so that he can give you something much more better, and you take that loss than the loss and pain that's going to happen if you cross over into marriage, which means that whatever issues and toxic behavior and things that you're dealing with is going to escalate 10 times more, because you're going to be up under that person 20, you're going to live with them. You're in the same bed, you're in the same house. And so whatever issues you have, they're just going to go to another level. And then you're going to really see who they are, because even the things that you don't know about them, the secrets or things the enemy has tried to hide, are going to come to the surface, because now you're in covenant. And so my job today is to just encourage you, don't wait till you get that far. If God is talking to you right now about stuff and he's showing you things, there is a way out. 1 Corinthians 10:13 says, no temptation has overtaken you except such that is common to man, but God is faithful, and he will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able. But with the temptation will also make the way of escape that you may be able to bear it. And so God knows, he knows what we can handle. He knows where we are at. He knows where we're weak. He knows where we're strong. And so he will make a way out of no way for you to escape something that is not his will for you. When he sees you have a heart to be out of this, he will help you. He's not going to just sit there and leave you alone. And so basically I just got to a point where I tried to ignore the situation while I was married. I went and got my associate's degree, and I was just trying to keep busy. I was working and taking care of my kids and just trying not to deal with the fact that my husband had asked me for a divorce and like still hadn't done anything about it. So basically something had to be done, because this went on for almost 4 years, and finally I got still, and school stopped and all these things stopped, and I had to face like, Lord, what do you want me to do concerning this situation? And so he gave me the grace, and he talked to me personally, and I'm not saying you do this, but because I was in a emotional manipulative type of relationship, and I had been dealing with my husband leaving and coming back and leaving and coming back, it really did a lot of damage on me and my self-esteem, and just not showing up and saying it's going to do stuff and not so. And this had been going on before I got married. And so it really began to break me down emotionally, like spiritually and physically. Like I was having panic attacks and all different type of stuff, even though I wasn't showing him a lot of these are things that I was dealing personally with myself. And of course it was spilling out on my other relationships with my children, because I was angry inside and I was having all these emotions inside, but I didn't feel like I had any outlet to talk about it or to process it. And so when I finally, during that separation time, I ended up changing churches where I was at, and God connected me with a church. And something just happened when I joined that church. Is like my whole life just changed. Like the word of God began to open up to me, and I began to hear God's voice clearly for myself. And he basically told me that he wanted me to let that relationship go, that he had better for me. And I didn't know it, my singleness and all the time that I spent single was going to be so long. But I trust God and I believe what he said. And I took that step of faith, and it was the hardest thing that I have ever done, because I don't like being in courtrooms. I don't like being in trouble. I'm not the person that want to be in the principal's room. So I tried to be, do what I had to do when I was in school. So it was very hard to walk through that, because it felt like I was doing the whole process alone, because my ex-husband really didn't show up to any of it. Like it was just me and God walking through the whole thing. But God's favor was there. God hooked me up with the right judge. I remember when I went before the judge and it was time for me to put in the motion and do all that stuff, I was trying to do this on my own, and I just broke down. I could barely get through the questions he was asking me and keep my composure. So I ended up walking out, and while I was walking out, this lawyer came up to me and talked to me and was talking to me about my case, and he gave me his card. Now this is a person who doesn't do pro bono work for anybody. So he was a good lawyer. And God gave me favor with that lawyer, and he took on my case and helped me go through the process with me and spoke on my behalf, because I felt like I was in trouble. But it was just little things that God was doing to confirm that he was leading and guiding me in this situation. And another thing that he did is, when he separated us, I was thinking of it as rejection, but I realize now it was God protecting me, because had not the Lord moved that person to another state, I probably still would have kept going in and out of relationship with him. And so sometimes God He knows where we're at. I always give have this image and picture in my mind, like he literally, and I'm trying not to cry while I'm saying on this, but I just felt like I was drowning in this water, and I just saw like the hand of God just reach down and pick me out of them, because I didn't know how to get out of that situation. Like, when I was around my ex, I was very weak around him. Like, I didn't know how to say no to him. I had a lot of things I needed to work on, and just not be a people pleaser, and all these things I needed to mature in to have a healthy relationship. So God, he helps us where we're weak. Like, God knows where we're weak. He'll make a way of escape. He'll create things if he has to lead you out of something that is not good for you, that is not his best will for you. And so I want to just encourage you in Hebrews 4:14 through 16. They're saying, seeing that we have a great high priest who passed through heavens, Jesus the Son of God, let us hold fast to our confession, for we do not have a high priest who cannot sympathize with our weakness, but was in all points tempted as we were, yet without sin. So let us therefore become boldly before the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. So if we come to God and we ask for his help, right? We can come boldly, because he's been through and experienced what we've experienced. So he was here on the earth. He became like us, so he can walk through that experience. And he knows, he sympathizes with our weaknesses. He understands where we're at spiritually. He understands where we're at naturally, and he will meet us where we're at. He knows our heart, and then the Lord knows when we're ready to move on from something and when we're not. He knows when we're ready to follow him and do what he's asking us to do and where we're not. And so he knows the steps that needs to be taken to be led out of unhealthy or toxic relationships. And I'm saying toxic because this is something that it may be killing you emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And the Lord is like, no, enough is enough. And some of you guys, he's been talking to you a lot, but you're so afraid. You don't see how he can do it. Like, there's been so many times in the Bible where God has rescued and delivered his people from bondage and oppression and different things, and people that were coming after them, to his people, to kill them and to try to destroy them. And he stepped in, like, even though there was long periods of suffering. Thinking about the Israelites, there was so many years of suffering that they went to, so many years they were in bondage. And Jesus, the Lord was like, enough is enough. I'm stepping in. I'm delivering my people. I hear your cries. I see you at night when nobody sees you. I see the tears. I see that you want my help. And he loves you enough to step in and do it. But sometimes we don't know how. And I'm going to encourage you today, ask God to help you. He will help you. He will show you what to do. He will show you what steps you need to take, so that you can begin to rebuild, and he can restore your soul and build you up to a place where you can begin to have healthier relationships, and he can bring the right people into your life. And so I just want to encourage you that even when you're without strength, God is with strength. He has the strength and the ability to help you, and he wants to deliver you from what you're in and what you're facing right now. And all you just have to do is just ask for his wisdom, and that requires humility. It requires saying, you know what, Lord, I really want to obey you. I really want to follow your plan in life. I really want to have someone that really loves me and that treats me the way you treat me. But I don't know how to do it. And he knows and he understands. But that humility has to be there. We have to be willing to say, you know what, Lord, I need your help because I can't do this by myself. I'm not as strong as I thought I was. Because some of you guys have tried to get out of these relationships with willpower. And let me tell you, it does not work, because when you are so tied to someone, if you don't have community and people, God-fearing people that you are connected to and hooked up with, and you're trying to do this on your own, you're going to fail. You're not going to be able to do it. But when you get good godly leaders that know the word of God involved, you get people who love you, and you allow them to be your support system and to help you while you do the right things, while you take the necessary steps that God is leading you to do. You're gonna see a better and brighter future on the other side, because he loves you guys. He cares so much about our hearts. This is why I personally am not a fan of dating multiple people all the time, because you are passing your heart from one person to the next person, and so many people don't know when to stop or to cut it off. They continue to create these soul ties with all of these people, and every time you do that, you're leaving a piece of yourself with that person and a trail of broken hearts. And God cares about your heart. He cares about your soul. He cares about how you're treated, and he wants you to be led by his spirit. So I just hope you get something out of this today, that you are encouraged, that you understand that God will deliver you, and all you have to do is yield to him, yield to his spirit, yield to what he's speaking to you, and have that support system around you. I appreciate you guys so much. I love you guys, and I hope to see you soon in a couple of weeks. I know I have a conference I need to go to next week, but I'm looking forward to seeing you again. I plan on having a guest on, so this will be the first time I have a guest on. We're going to be talking about something very important and dear to my heart, and it's going to be all good. Love you guys. I see you guys soon. Have a great day. Bye.